The invasive lionfish is apparently making a comeback on Cayman's reefs. Last year, many divers noticed a welcome decline in lionfish populations, but in recent months, the long-spined predators have been easier to find. Cayman 27's Drew McArthur reports.
More than a decade after the lionfish invasion first reached Cayman's waters, these striking predators are still a common sight on Cayman's reefs.
When I first got to this island about 5 years ago, it wasn't uncommon to be able to find maybe 20 or even 30 on a dive without even really looking for them. And then about a year ago, it just seemed like the numbers were dropping, and when we would go out hunting them, we wouldn't be able to find as many.
But over the last 6 months, dive instructor Drew McArthur and other lionfish cullers have seen that trend reversing.
The lionfish invasion isn't scripted. It's not been seen anywhere else before, so we're in essence learning as we're going along.
With so many unknowns, Department of Environment Research Officer Bradley Johnson says he doesn't put too much stock in the short-term trends.
Because you're seeing a dip doesn't necessarily mean you're not going to see a subsequent rise in later years, especially when we didn't really know what was causing that dip in the numbers last year. So it's something that we sort of expected, and one of the reasons why we said, people should still continue the same efforts in culling.
But Mr. McArthur says in practice, the so-called pendulum effect may have discouraged some cullers.
When there's lots of lionfish, there's lots of people out there shooting them. But then when you find there's not so many lionfish out there, you'll find that people go out and don't get as many, so then they kind of stop taking their spears with them.
The timing couldn't be better for cullers to rejoin the fight against the invasive lionfish. Cayman United Lionfish League is hosting its first tournament of 2019 on the first weekend in March.
But it does add a little bit of extra excitement when those numbers are up and everybody sees the big coolers full.
And whether or not Cull 28 brings in a record catch, Cull treasurer Mark Orr says everyone is invited to eat them to beat them.
Every fish is important. Every lionfish off the reef is thousands of small fish saves.
Joe Avery, Cayman 27.
The DOE says even if the lionfish were somehow eradicated from Cayman's reefs, lionfish eggs and larvae would likely drift into our waters from other jurisdictions, giving the population a chance to re-establish itself.